What's up, party animals? My name is Kessie. Thanks for coming to my party. I have had a rough couple years, so it means a lot. Hope you enjoy the music. Thank you.
What's up, party animals? My name is Kessie, and I've hosted a lot of furry events. Over the past few years, I've done a lot of holiday-themed events. I've done mostly holiday-themed events, but I've been trying to branch out and do more. Recently, I got a sound system so I can do more live music stuff, and it's been quite an experience, and I've learned a ton. So I wanted to go over what makes a good furry event. And I'm going to start with the obvious, fursuiters. I'm a fursuiter, and so I'm a little biased, but whenever I go and I look for furry things to do, the first thing that comes to mind, and it's usually a given, but is, can I bring my fursuit? If I'm going to a furry event and I can't wear my fursuit, it really doesn't feel like a furry event. And this can be as simple as just being able to partial. There's a lot of like venues or like music clubs and places where wearing a mask like this is actually not allowed. And so when you host a furry event there, you need to make sure that the venue actually approves, yes, you can wear your furry mask and blah, 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 because for what it's worth, masks can be a safety concern. Now, the additional thing is, cool, if you can bring the fursuit, that's a big plus. But then there needs to be amenities. And that's the next biggest thing, is if you can bring your fursuit, there needs to be a few things. One of them, a changing room. If you're gonna have people getting in and out of their full fursuits, they need a place where they can strip down and be in a private area where, you know, they don't have to flash everybody just getting their costume on. Having a place to store your stuff is super important, where it's secure and safe. And then having a place to cool off. A headless lounge is extremely important. And one of the things that I've done is I've found that it's nice to actually just have the fursuit or the furry event happen in winter, because then you can just stand outside for a little bit, cool off, and then go right back to what you're doing. Summertime events, while it's easier to make an excuse and the weather's not rainy and all sorts of stuff, sucks for fursuiters because it's hot. Now, I did a furry event on the 4th of July at a place called Savi's Island Beach. And it was a great event, but it's not really there's nothing stopping anyone from wearing their fursuit, but it wasn't a fursuit friendly location. And that's a big thing to consider too when hosting your event. Now, everyone was super happy and comfortable partialing. There was enough area to play in the water, and there was a kind of shaded, designated area where, you know, we could keep the sand out. We had like a tent set up to store fursuit heads in. There wasn't much for cooling off, but we had shade and a few like hand fans. Because of that, a lot of people showed up and brought just their head, and I think that's it. I don't think anybody brought paws. But a lot of people came and just partialed. You know, they wore their swimming outfit and then just a fursuit head, and it was super cute. Here's a photo, and that's what we all did. And that was a super fun event. Now, it wasn't a designated fursuiting event, but it was a furry event, and that brings me to the next thing, is invite furries. If you're gonna have a furry event, really it's about who shows up. You know, if I'm gonna host a furry event, I'm not gonna invite all my juggalo friends or weeaboo friends. One of the things about furries and really alt groups in general is that the social skills aren't perfect. And so you need to make an environment where everybody feels safe, from the most talkative hyper people to the people who just kind of like to sit and watch, to the people who are kind of awkward. You want them all to feel like they're welcome in that area. You know, I wouldn't say have staff, but have a few people that you trust that everyone knows here are the leaders of the group. Because if there's a problem, someone's going to need to deal with it, because not everyone knows what to do. Like, as people bring things, you know, someone needs to decide where it all goes. And so having kind of a few designated people as staff, you can even mark them. One of the events that I go to wears big bandanas. Others just have some cons will even have like whole staff uniforms. But as long as you have people designated as the event runners, and that could be, and again, depending on the size of your event, I mean, there's just a hangout kind of vibe where, it's just chill. But, there needs to be a known person who is able to kind of coordinate things or escalate as things happen. One of the things that I had at the Savi's meet was that someone who is bad for the community tried to join in on the event. And while I'm kind of not one to cause problems, light fires, or ban people outright, no one wanted this person here because they did crimes, horrible crimes against people. And so I kind of had to make the hard decision of saying, hey, everyone hates you, goodbye. And that's a sucky thing to do. But someone has to do that. Otherwise, you'll wind up getting your event overrun by really toxic people. That was a hard message to do. And yeah, there was a risk where they could just be like, oh, I'm going to flame you on the internet. And yeah, it kind of happens that way. But when you let in bad people, bad things happen. And this person was a legitimate safety risk. You need to be able to make those hard decisions. Now, I only had to do that once so far, which I am very grateful that it didn't happen immediately so early on into when I was doing events and stuff like that. But you need a team of people around you, because if it was just me, I wouldn't have known. I don't know these people. I just kind of put in a mostly open invite into a few trusted Telegram groups. And that's the second thing, Telegram. Furries use Telegram, and when you are making your own event, the best thing you can do for it is create a Telegram group to kind of coordinate everybody and make a list. One, you get the list of people who are going. My Savi's Island meet had 60 people in the group chat when the event started. Now, I don't know if 60 people showed up. It certainly wasn't all at once. People kind of came and went. But having that Telegram group allowed for coordination. Since it was the 4th of July and Savi's Island actually closed and didn't allow fireworks, whoops, didn't know that, we moved locations to somewhere where we could light fireworks off. Technically. And we went to another furry's private property, and no one knew where this was. So we had to post a new location into the group chat and hope everyone can kind of make it if they show up late or if they are, or like caravanning and stuff like that. And again, that's where staff comes into play. That took a lot of coordination. It's not something I could just do alone. And that brings me to the next thing, is activities. Now, my last event, and the thing that you saw in the intro, was a Halloween party where I had live music, and I got like a whole sound system set up for it so that, and I have it now so I can host more live music events in the future. And that's a big thing, is there needs to be something to do, something to kind of unify the event. Music is a big one. I feel like at a lot of furry cons, people are just kind of hanging out, waiting for the rave. And then once the rave happens, they're like, yeah, fun, party. And then the rave is over. Now, that could just be because my circles are ravers, but having a kind of core thing that everyone wants to go and do is a big one. And a lot of smaller events, actually most events in general, but a lot of smaller events, alcohol is a big thing because furries are, one, mostly adults, and two, mostly alcoholics. And so something like Slabtown Scamper, well, that was happening at a pub where you could buy pitchers of beer. And while that's not great for some people, and all of my events, I kind of have I'm mixed on how I kind of handle alcohol because I'm not going to provide it. That's something you need to be careful of, is if you're hosting an event that serves alcohol, you need to make sure that everyone is an adult, because you can get in a lot of trouble if you are serving alcohol to minors. That is a serious crime. And so I just kind of don't play with that game. So all of my events are bring your own bottle and keep it on the down low. My Savi's meet, I made sure that like people weren't just like drinking and leaving their cans everywhere, because in the park, that's public intoxication and you weren't allowed to drink there. So I made the rule of just like, hey, don't bring alcohol. And unfortunately, people brought alcohol. But the idea there is that don't make it obvious. If you're going to break the rules, it's not going to be that I broke the rules because my event allowed it. And that's the biggest thing you can do for yourself, is a lot of CYOA type of rulings where you say, hey, don't bring alcohol, and, maybe a nod and a wink. But realistically, it's if you, the host, aren't, bringing a whole bar to the event, then you're going to have your butt covered, because people will smuggle in whatever the heck they want to. And that stops being your problem, because, a hangout at a park isn't really some kind of controlled environment. So that's at like a park, and I've hosted and been to a few house parties as well. And one of the things that is really fun is having something on a big screen. Video games are a super fun way to pass the time and enjoy things together. One of the best things you can play is Jackbox. That's a incredibly versatile and fun and easy to pick up game. Everyone has a smartphone, so you just pick that up, play the game with all your friends, and there's I think the limit of people is pretty large. It's very easy for people to join and play and stuff like that. Another great option is stuff like Mario Party, Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, but that's a little more intense. And so having video games, or multiple at the same time, is a really fun way to bring everyone together and to have kind of this bonding experience, because you want, again, an activity to kind of bring everyone together. At Savi's, for example, I didn't have like a main activity, but it was at a beach. Go play in the water. That's the activity. At my Halloween party just this last month, listen to the music. That's the event. Go listen, dance, enjoy. At an event like Plush that happened recently, that's again another big music event, alongside like all sorts of socializations. They have like a dealer's den, and that's another thing that you can do if your event is bigger than a fur meet, is have artists selling stuff. A lot of people in your community likely have physical items they want to sell. So give them a place to do that. So a lot of, like I said, fursuiters like to go to furry events. And so having kind of fursuit-sized things, me in this costume with my big paws, I'm not going to be playing, Nintendo Switch games. But I could play a game of volleyball or lawn darts, or preferably safety lawn darts. I can play a game of stack blocks. That's one of my favorite things at BLFC, is they have fursuit-sized toys. And I think that's a big thing to bring to a furry event, especially if you know that there's going to be fursuiters there. Fursuit-sized activities where, you don't need fine dexterity to play it. You can just kind of like hold it with your big arms and enjoy it that way. And so that's kind of what I've learned so far from hosting furry events, is, make sure that people feel welcome. Again, you get people from all walks of life. You want everyone to feel safe. Make sure you have staff to make sure those people do feel safe. Make sure you have a way for fursuiters to be fursuiters. A big part of furry events is people want a fursuit. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. Watch the full release of my mix on my Patreon for super cheap, but I don't want to post it on YouTube because it's going to be like, you're watching stuff that costs money, and I'm like, no. So go check it out there, and until next time, thanks so much for watching. Bye bye. Thanks guys for watching all my videos. I am having a great time doing all of this, but the stress is a lot. So yeah, host a furry event, do your thing. I don't know what to say at this end card. Go subscribe to my Patreon. Thanks so much. Bye bye.